All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you, just like me. Yeah, I've got an interesting topic here. D. Snider says that the CEO of Spotify should be taken out and shot. All right, those are his words. Sounds like a threat to me and could be grounds for insurrection. Maybe D. Snider should be banned from playlists all over the world because he's calling for insurrection. Before, see how I did that? Before we talk more about this, this album here came out earlier this year. The band is called Cross Country Driver. I tried to find something wrong with this album. I couldn't. All right. The album is entitled The New Truth, and it's old school classic rock. It's fantastic. It's not getting played. You can go stream it on Spotify, or you can buy a CD. That would be really cool if you bought a CD. And yeah, we'll be talking about what goes on over on Spotify and what the CEO had to say. Before I get to that, I would be doing not my due diligence if I didn't tell folks I was 4 subscribers away from 75K. Now, I don't typically gloat too much. I think when I went over 70, I just mentioned it in passing. It's been a long time since I hit another number. Look, revenue is down. The number of subscribers per month is way down. It went up briefly. I'm not sure. It's like somebody decided to, take their foot off the brake pedal a little bit, and things got a little better. And now we're kind of reverting back in the other direction. So again, if you haven't subscribed, that would be great. Also, Patreon, I need the support. Otherwise, I can't keep doing this. On the YouTube AdSense revenue alone, I would be making like poverty level wages. So again, some people say I should go get a real job. If I do, then I'm really not going to be able to do this anymore because I'm already stressed out with a number of other things going on in my life. So again, if you can help, if you haven't subscribed and you want to make certain people in certain chat rooms upset that I went over 75,000, that would be cool. You want to be that person. If it ever happens where I go over 100,000, people are just going to go out of their mind. They're just, there's no way this guy went over 100K. So yeah, and that's fine. I don't believe it either. It's just some dude who started making videos in his backyard a long time ago. And here I am, much like the CEO of Spotify. I'm sure he didn't have to make videos in his backyard to be successful. Anyway, D. Snider, he's upset. Now, D is like a hot and cold dude for me. All right. He was very cold when it came to things like medical freedom and government overreach and tyranny and forcing you to do something that you don't want to do. And here's a guy who is supposedly super pro-choice, but he's only pro-choice on certain things. He's not pro-freedom in other areas. And it's a little bit contradictory. I mean, the more I just travel through life, I see all of the hypocrisy and contradictions, and I don't know where it starts and I don't know where it ends anymore. I just listen and I nod and I go, okay, but over here you said X and now you're saying something completely against what you said. Anyway, D. Snider, hot and cold. He's cold there, but he's hot on this issue. He says, and I think his rhetoric is a bit inflammatory. Let me start with this phrase. He said, he and his fellow rockers are killed by the streaming services' low payments. I understand that's a figure of speech. Being killed means you're not making very much money. So that's true. And if, again, you go over to Spotify and you want to check out this album, for instance, on Spotify, the band isn't going to thank you for doing that because they might make a few pennies, literally. That's if they get enough streams on certain songs. But an upstart band like this, they don't have a lot of hope. There's a video on YouTube, and some people watched that video. And maybe that video will accumulate a lot of views over time. But again, you have to hit while the iron is hot. And that means you need to get a lot of views quickly. That's the problem with my channel. Basically, after a couple of thousand views, they don't, suggest the video anymore. And then out of 75,000 subscribers, only 2,000 actually see or watch the video. So there's a lot of weird things going on. You could call it shadow banning. You could call it prioritizing. So D. Snider, he's onto something here. And artists have been complaining about this for a long time. And D. Snider says that people pay this monthly fee, which you can if you want to avoid the commercials. A lot of people will just listen through, which the commercials are irritating because they're typically promoting things that D. Snider was telling everyone they had to do 2 or 3 years ago. So it's interesting. They get most of their money from these large corporations that are promoting safe and effective products. And you're going to keep needing these products for the rest of your life because your body can't do anything for itself. That's what they're essentially telling you. And thank goodness we're here to run ads all day long on Spotify. Also, when I didn't pay for Spotify, and I do this thing where I might sign up for a couple of months because they'll send me an offer like 3 months for the price of one. And so I'm like, all right, I'll do that because then I can make a playlist and go listen to it like everybody else. I get bored and I get fed up with it. I miss the days of really good terrestrial radio. I know I can just make my own playlist and that'll be better. But for some reason, I get bored with it right away. And I do that. But when I am not doing that, I'll listen to some, non-paid for Spotify. And you get all these commercials. It was the Home Depot was like every other ad. It was like, okay, I get it. The Home Depot, do it yourself. I'll be in. I don't do anything myself. So this doesn't really, I just don't have the skill set. But I'm listening to just one Home Depot commercial after another. So it does get very monotonous, at least on terrestrial radio. You'll get different commercials. Progressive too. They just add too much, too many advertisements. And anyway, so that's the Spotify experience. And D. Snider talks about, you pay the fee. And again, some people don't, but the ad revenue should also be supporting Spotify. I'm assuming it's fairly lucrative. When the CEO of Spotify heard that people were complaining about how little they were being paid, his response was, make more music. Pringles, eat all you want. We'll make more. Wasn't that Jay Leno in that ad? I used to like that commercial. And D. Snider was referring to billionaire Spotify CEO Daniel Ek, who in 2020 noted that some artists that used to do well in the past may not do well in the future, where you can't record music once every 3 or 4 years and think that's going to be enough. No, of course not. You've got to keep recording music. Look, you can record 10 albums in a month. Doesn't mean people are going to flock to Spotify to listen to those albums. And I think that would be kind of overkill. And this is what I'm up against here on YouTube, because I get 2,000 views, 3,000 views sometimes if I'm lucky. Then I'll have a breakout video, which pumps me up a little bit for a day or two. But then I'm back at it. I've got to make 2 or 3 videos in a day so the revenue doesn't crater completely. And that's what I've been doing. And this apparently is the business model for Spotify. Telling the artist, yeah, just make more music. And so you got to make good music for people to want to listen to it. He didn't say, make great music and it'll get played a lot. He just said, make more music. So this guy sounds like a cold-hearted idiot. All right. I'm just going to say idiot. He doesn't sound very intelligent. I mean, this takes all of the creativity, all of the passion, just takes it off the table. It's just a commodity at this point. And Dee Snider picks up on that. He says it's like we're producing cans of Coke. And he's right. And he's saying, you artists who used to make money in the past, you're not going to make money anymore. Really. Sometimes it takes a couple of years to come up with enough material for an album. And then it takes that long to create something that's not just like the thing you did a year or two ago. I mean, this is what happens. And people might put out a great debut album and then you get the sophomore slump. You can't come up with any new ideas. So Snider says, make more music. That's insulting and belittling. So, again, he is thankful that apparently Steven Spielberg used We're Not Gonna Take It for the finale of Ready Player One, which I don't know what that is. But he says, thank you, God. Wow, Dee Snider thanked God. He says, because I'm not getting anything from Spotify. So, yeah, Dee Snider basically telling the king, the CEO of Spotify, might as well be a king, that he should be taken out and shot. Sounds like insurrection to me. Maybe Dee Snider shouldn't be allowed in Colorado. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I agree with Dee. I think the inflammatory rhetoric, however, has no place in public discourse today. All right. Enough sarcasm. Before I leave, one more plug for Cross Country Driver, The New Truth. Sounds like 70s rock and roll. It's got a kick to it. Great instrumentation. Muscle car ready. And should be something that you have in your collection. Maybe buy the CD and don't stream it. Also, folks, please pray for peace in the Middle East and around the world. And for the elections in 2024 here in the United States, which it appears that things are going to be very crazy next year. So enjoy the time you have with your family this holiday season. And obviously, prepare yourself for a wacky and crazy new year.